We just don't really have an intro.
No.
Do you hit any good news lately? Did you hear anything?
Gee, I don't know.
Oh, wow, you actually don't know.
I really don't know.
I thought I was throwing to... Okay, all right.
No,
that's my bad.
no.
That's my bad. I'm excited to hear that a bunch of movies are all canceled.
You're excited about that?
Hey, I thought you were going to have something. They're all canceled. They're all getting moved to 2021, which they probably should have been for a long time. And at some point, and, this is not a political show, so we're not going to talk about what's happening politically right now. But if anything, I think we should be vindicated for keeping the show going this long.
Yeah, right.
Because... something's still a problem.
Yeah. Clearly.
But I think at some point we'll just call a threshold to it. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like if we all get an event, this is some people's strategy. It's worked so well so far with 205,000 dead. But the idea is that if we all get it eventually, then it's just something that's around. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't exactly work. I can see in their twisted minds how they think it's going to work, but the problem is that you don't get it. You don't get permanent immunity to it just by having it.
Right.
So you're safe for maybe a little while after, but we don't know after that, and we won't know until we've gone through this for a couple of years.
Right.
And so we could, let's say you have it and you give it to me, and then we separate and you go somewhere else, and we're apart for 3 months. And I get it. Oh, boy, so bad. Later on, we come back together, and I'm carrying it from somebody else, and I give it to you, and you've lost your antibodies because it's been 6 months now since you had it.
Right.
And it's just like a slow game of viral tennis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, it could bounce around for a while.
Definitely.
In the populace.
Yeah.
But at some point, hopefully we'll get a vaccine, and we'll...
aim for it.
And we'll have, enough people will have had it or we'll have immunity to it. What I'm saying is that they're going to open the theaters someday. I mean, they've already opened a lot of things up.
Mm-hmm. Some movie theaters are open.
And so, in the future, if this happens again, and scientists say that it might, they just shut everything down. Mm-hmm. At this point, we've already just said it's a do-over. 2020 is a mulligan.
Yeah.
And... I know that there's money involved. I know that there are jobs involved. But, man, the studios just can't get it through their heads. It's not going to happen, guys.
I know.
And I'm waiting for Wonder Woman to get moved.
It's going to. It will.
But at some point, let's say maybe the opening of the summer, film season for next year, they're probably just going to punt and just... Well, punt means you put down the road. They're going to go for it on 4th and 12. They're going to go for it and just open the theaters, and what's going to happen is going to happen. But
I'm a little anxious about it, though, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Even like looking ahead to next year. I mean, the thing is, right? We just don't know how long.
There's literally no
last.
point. We
have
misplace
no
our enthusiasm. We misplace our courage. There's no point in taking a stand, and we're going to do it when nobody comes.
Right.
It's not about you just doing something for yourself. AMC or whatever. You need people
customers
to buy tickets and popcorn from you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound like a good idea to anybody.
No.
And
not
so
most people right
Tenet
now anyways.
makes nothing, and the people who give you the movies all run off, and then you're just caught holding the bag.
Yeah.
With a lot of man hours and woman hours and a lot of electrical bills to pay, and just shut it down, man.
I know. It's just not a good time right now.
No, it's a terrible time because the government is not supporting people correctly.
No.
Nobody is... I get that we weren't prepared for this, but nobody is making themselves prepared for this. Nobody is adapting to this. Everybody wants it to go back to normal, and it's just not going to for right now.
Will, though, right? I mean, what is...
Well, the world?
What is normal?
The world in general will go back to normal.
But don't you think that we'll be somewhat changed from this experience?
Oh, you mean like spiritually?
I don't know.
I
mean, like, don't you think we'll approach
I
things
think this happened in 1918.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah,
to talk about it.
Yeah, I
and to
know.
forget all the lessons of 100 years ago. That's what I think. So, yeah, at this rate, it looks like every 100 years this is going to happen. So maybe we'll be ready in 2118. I don't know.
Okay.
But people need to just, like, get with the program here. Come on. It's not going anywhere.
It's beyond getting with the program.
It's not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
And you're welcome, because he got it in Duluth. So let's move on and talk about our films for today. I won the toss, so we're going to talk about my film first. My film is a film called Xanadu. I wish it was.
No.
Because we would have a lot of energy coming in, but we're going to fake the energy that we would have had if we had watched Xanadu right before this and talk about the film that I selected. And that film is William Friedkin's Sorcerer.
Yes.
From 1977.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this movie did terrible at the box office. Do you know why?
They didn't know how to market it?
They did.
Maybe?
They definitely did not know how to market it.
Uh-huh.
It was also produced by 2 different studios, which is a long story that isn't really interesting enough for us to talk about. But,
okay.
you know, Paramount and Universal both
which is weird.
Produced it, and I think both dropped the ball, maybe thinking the other studio had the ad campaign down.
Okay.
And also, it came out in June, around the same time. A little film called Star Wars.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry, Sorcerer.
Yeah. Didn't work out too good as far as that goes. Tell me, what happens in Sorcerer?
Okay, I'm going to skip the beginning part because...
It's the most important part, but that's okay.
You think it's the most important part?
We'll see. Let's find out.
Well, fine.
Let's find out.
We see several different vignettes. We follow different groups of people in different countries. There's this one guy who is an assassin in South America, kills a guy. There's another guy who I'm not exactly sure what his entire deal is, but it's in Jerusalem, and him and his buddies leave a bomb somewhere, and it goes off, and he escapes. And then there's another guy who works in banking in Paris, France, and made some sort of bad business decision. His partner blows his brains out in a car, and he knows he's going to get picked up by the police, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't run away. So he runs away from his wife, who he loves, of 10 years, and just kind of disappears. And,
it happens.
Yeah, and then there's another guy who... I don't know if they're in a gang or if they're just petty thieves or what, but they go to a church and like steal the money that these priests are racketing. I'm not even entirely sure what's going on, but like this church is run by like some sort of gang member, and they shoot a guy, but he doesn't die, and they take all of the money, and they're in the car and they're arguing with each other, and the driver knocks into a truck or something like that, or swerves. Anyways, the car topples over. They're in this horrible car accident. I'm not entirely sure how many people survived. The driver walks away, but he, the guy whose church they knocked over is looking for him because he thinks that he shot his brother, and he's like, I gotta get out of here. So all 4 of those characters end up in South America, where there is this huge, horrible, like, explosion at this oil plant that is not, the safety precautions, let's just say, are more or less non-existent. A lot of people die. People are really upset about it. There's this huge fire, and they can't get it under control. And they have to bring... I learned something. You have to bring dynamite to... Like, you're going to have to help me with this a little bit. You have to bring dynamite to this oil fire to help put it out. Somehow there's something in the dynamite. No. Okay.
It's not. You can't. Like, there is a torrential, rainstorm. There is a tropical storm that goes on during the film. Now, wouldn't that put the fire out? No. The oil is, in a pocket, or it's in shale in the ground, and it's under pressure. There's a reason that we say, "Oh, you struck oil," and it's spraying out everywhere, because the oil is under pressure, and so when you're pumping it up, you're sort of doing it. And sort of drawing it up. But once the wellhead like breaks or explodes, it lights the oil, and it's like when you see that. I'm not ashamed to tell people I have a can of WD-40 on my desk.
Yeah.
If I lit the end of that and pulled the trigger, it would shoot out. Now, figure, God willing, it wouldn't crawl back up into the can. It doesn't really do that. The pressure's high enough that it would just be a blowtorch.
Right.
And that's the same thing with the wellhead. So it'll burn until the pressure goes down, basically.
Yeah.
And that's an ecological disaster, but it's also, that's a lot of money. That's just money going up in smoke.
Right.
So when you introduce dynamite to it, it blows up like dynamite would, and the explosion eats up oxygen and
So the
basically
fire can't
blows the fire out. And once the fire has stopped, it's not continuous. It will just stop. They'll still have probably a bunch of
Oil.
Unless the
Gotcha.
oil,
Right.
unless it blocks the rubble blocks the thing. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do.
Okay. So
They do that.
have,
They'll still do that today.
That's crazy. So they had these crates of dynamite in a different location, and but they went to inspect them, and it's been there for a while, and it hasn't been turned. So the nitroglycerin has kind of come loose.
Yeah, it's
and you have to be very careful when moving them.
The foreman's sweating, the explosive expert is sweating,
Yeah.
the dynamite's sweating.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's sweating.
So basically, they have to find people who are crazy enough to risk their lives to transport this dynamite to the oil plant,
so
they can put this fire out.
Yep.
And they basically say, we don't want anybody unless you have to be willing to risk your life, like seriously. And we're going to pay you. I think it was like something like, I can't remember how much money.
It was 20,000
a piece.
Well, it was 8. They asked for more at one point.
Yes.
So and it was initially 8,000. And I think they call them pesos. It's not said where this is.
Yeah, right.
But they say pesos. And the reason that's a big number is that you need like 5,000 pesos to get the guy to get you a passport to get you out of town.
To get you out of there. And they all want to leave. Nobody wants to be
there.
Right.
And everybody, because it's hellish.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
But so they get 2 sets of 2 drivers in these really horrible rickety Jeeps.
And guess who it is? It's our 4 vignette guys, which is why it was important to tell that at the beginning.
And then the whole plot is them getting there.
Yep.
And all of the horrible things that they run into along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Extremely terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a remake of a Georges Arnaud film from 1953, a French film called The Wages of Fear. Mm-hmm. That film has a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. Sorcerer, our boy Sorcerer, does not.
No.
It's got a 79.
Yeah.
68 on Metacritic. And my thing is, who gives Sorcerer a 79 on Metacritic?
Right.
What'd you think about this film?
I liked it, but it was
we found our 79.
Well, it's just like, it's a slow burn, right? Because, but there's all these things happening in the beginning.
It opens with 4 murders.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, how are these connected? And it's not like I'm necessarily searching for plot, but if it's a little disjointed at first, but it makes sense later. So, I mean, once it gets going, and it's very suspenseful.
This is an edge of your seater.
Yeah, it is, because you're worried for their lives, like, a lot.
Constantly.
Yeah. So.
And
I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. So.
Wow.
Whoa! What? You asked me?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm got Friedkin glasses on because I love William Friedkin, director of French Connection, The Exorcist, just a ton of like well-loved, well-awarded and regarded films.
Yep.
He definitely has some 100% on the board, but like Sorcerer, and I cannot understand why. I'm trying to think of like other movies where he does this, because I don't know, does he have a style? I guess he's got a style, but he is employing here a style that is different than just, it's The Exorcist, so people are going to talk and it's going to be scary and that sort of thing. Yeah, that's The Exorcist, right?
Right, yeah,
pretty much. That wraps it up.
Yeah.
or it's going to be the French Connection, and it's going to be a combination of a couple different sort of techniques, but it's going to be a real, almost documentary-esque kind of look at this crime story. But Sorcerer is just, we were laughing about this as we were watching the film. There are, first of all, I don't know where they shot it because we don't do research, but they definitely shot it somewhere in South America. Mm-hmm. And the things that they set up, like this movie cost, it cost more than you'd think. Or maybe not. I don't know. It cost $22 million. That's in 1977 bucks. That's a lot of money. Uh-huh. Star Wars cost like 8, maybe 6. I can't remember. And so they spent money on it, but there's just things that are done. The scope is huge.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the view of mountains or deserts or whatever. There's a whole side thing going on in that. It isn't like these 4 guys are the protagonists of this town that they're in.
No.
They aren't at all. They're just people, characters in this town. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, there's this whole story that plays out in the background. There's no English dialogue committed to it about this, Banana Republic, dictator who is running the country.
Right.
And he has troops everywhere, and the people are all riled up. And there's this whole thing where, giant explosion, that's at the oil field, that's our inciting incident. But it also has an effect because they bring these bodies back of the people that died in this explosion, and they're wrapped in saran wrap, just to keep the juices in. And the people flip out and riot and and pull the soldiers out of the truck and grab the guns, and they're just going nuts, and they burn these trucks down. And it's if it was a scene in another movie about people working in a mining town or something like that in the South, it would just be, that'd be like a huge scene. But it's like somebody else's movie almost.
Yeah, right.
Because our characters aren't involved in that, but yet it serves to heighten the tension, and you understand how important it is and why this American guy that works for, and I don't know if it's like Shell Oil or if it has stickers on everything. It's got the eagle, right? So it's probably like a nationalized oil company. Sure. So this guy's even working for some Pinochet, or who's the Venezuela guy?
I don't know.
You should know. We almost got in a war with them. Figure, and so you understand what's on the line. Everybody has compromised their principles. A lot of money is not a lot of money. It's like $1,000 is a lot of money. Uh-huh. Everybody's poor. Everybody is horrible. Everybody's desperate, and they just want to get out of this place.
Yeah. And
to do that, they're going to drive 2 rickety trucks over rocky roads with 3
bridges.
Cases of nitroglycerin, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
In the middle of monsoon season. Yeah. And I just gimme, that's a movie.
Uh-huh.
So what's everybody's problem with it? We're here to bury Sorcerer and not praise it. Apparently
I told you what I think it is.
People don't like it.
I think it's because people don't.
So much of the action.
Yeah, okay, there's inciting incidents, but they're not. You don't understand how they're connected until later, and I think maybe some people their attention might.
Dumb people. Just checking.
I'm just telling you what I think it is.
So there's a scene where they go to the well is exploded, and I think the foreman is driving to the thing to check out what's going on. And he drives up this path, and I don't know how they did this with pyrotechnics, but he drives up this path, and as we sort of pan up to the oil field, it's the oil field, and this oil well is just a column of fire, like a biblical column of fire. It's huge. And then we cut. So it's just freak. It's exterior road. A man in a Jeep drives up to an oil field where a gigantic thing. The scene's 7 seconds. And it's
right.
Bill, we don't have to spend this much money. We can spend whatever we want. It doesn't have to be this much.
Right.
Or we open on a huge desert vista, a tiny little truck, the truck that we've been following this whole movie, drives down a rickety path. And it's John, we have to get a helicopter or a plane or something. That's got to cost us $100,000 right there. But they didn't spare that. He knew exactly what he wanted to put on screen. So much of the action in this film is told through action.
Yes.
So we hire these 4 guys, And then nobody says a word, nobody says nothing. We go out to the junkyard and we see that we got all these crappy trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so these 4 guys, over the course of the next 5 minutes, have to A-team together 2 trucks out of the 7 broken down trucks that they've got.
Yeah.
And it's just like, zzz, zzz, and we're doing this, we're doing that. We're seeing the determination in their eyes, after we saw Roy Scheider, who is the Irish gang guy, look like he's giving up, but now he's like back into it.
Right.
We see, and the tension starts building as it gets literally ratcheted up.
Yeah.
You're just gonna say yeah and right all the time. I don't. Let's do your movie. Nobody cares.
Wow.
Nobody cares about Sorcerer, and I can't make anybody care about Sorcerer. And
I think it's great that you love it so much, but it wasn't really for me. I don't know what else to say.
You don't like it.
I said it was fine, but I just think it wasn't for me.
Unbelievable.
What?
This show's over. I don't understand. Let's do Save the Last Dance so I can shit on that.
I'm not shitting on this film.
You'll feel how I feel.
I don't love that film anyways. And I'm not shitting on this film.
Oh, way to make yourself safe.
Whatever.
For that. You didn't like the scene where the visual storytelling, man, where he's sitting in the bar, they're all drinking this, piss beer, and he just looks up and he sees a Coke ad. And it's a woman lying on a beach, and it's obviously old. It's from like the, probably the early 60s or something like that. And he looks at the woman's face, he looks at her butt, and he looks at the Coke, the ice cold Coke that she's having. And it's like, right there, we understand how cut off he is, how miserable he is, and all the reasons why. And it's like the Kuleshov effect, like we look at the thing, we look at his face. We look at the thing, we look at his face.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You are immune to good filmmaking.
How can you say that when all these wonderful films?
Because you're not giving me these examples. You're not also going, oh yeah, what about the part where?
I just told you that this film isn't really for me, and I think you want to take me to task for that, and that's fine. But I don't think you can say that I don't have good taste,
right? But
because this film wasn't for me,
right? But saying it's not for me is not a podcast. Saying I didn't see what you saw, so let's go over the film. And we can figure out, at least we can figure out what you like about it. Maybe we can really pinpoint where it lost me. But just saying it's not for me, I just hit stop and we're done.
I thought it was very suspenseful.
No. I'm not asking you to list a bunch of things. I'm asking you to do what I'm doing. We're going through it.
I know that we're going through it. I understand that.
Yeah.
What?
I always love when we... Just tell me if you don't want to do a show, and then we won't go live, because everybody's hearing this.
I
Did you like the bridge scene?
Yeah.
Well,
which one? Both of them?
Well, okay. All right. So this is what I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. I just need you to... I'm trying to get you to open up about where it lost you. Say that you were bored. Say that you... Because all you've given me is you didn't understand where the 4 guys came from at the beginning. And I'm like, okay, but then now we know where they all came from. Mm-hmm. So that answers that question. Why does that still bother you? It's also another part of what I said before where it's like, why do 4 different movies? We open Tehran. We're in... It's not Tehran. It was Jerusalem. We open... Paris, we're in Paris. Bill, please, you're killing us.
I know.
with the budget.
Right.
That's ambitious.
It's very ambitious. It is.
You're just wheedling a crazy person. That's all you're doing. Put the knife down, she says.
Not what I'm trying to do.
Maybe people don't like Sorcerer because the people who like Sorcerer are assholes.
Maybe. Whoa.
Strategically
you're giving me crazy
launched
eyes.
fart.
Wow. I liked how long it took them to clear the tree because it seems like realistic. Like it took them like almost a whole day. And they really made you feel that. And then
I liked when they go through the whole thing because they've got one. I don't know how he knows how to make string bombs, but I guess he's a bomb maker, right?
Right.
So they go through the whole thing and they're going to use a whole box of dynamite. I guess it's a big tree.
Yeah.
And he sets the whole thing up, and there's a part where he sets the dynamite up on the strike plate on top of the tree, and the drop, the dropping rock, the trigger is set.
Yeah.
And he goes through all that work, and then he just sort of sits and he kind of he looks at it and he kind of puts his head down like, this is the dumbest idea anybody's ever had. What are we doing?
Right.
But they don't have a choice.
No, I know. And I also like he's the bomb maker, so I guess it makes sense that he's the one who's setting it off, but he also like severely injured his leg earlier, so like he's the one who has to run away from it, like as it's going off. So it's like, this is not really a smart idea. I also like, so that was kind of like what they foresaw as, that was the biggest setback for them up to that point, right? Was this huge tree that was blocking their path. And so they get through that, and then we see the bomb guy, who is the guy from Jerusalem, and then the guy who's French, who's from Paris.
Yeah.
And the French guy is driving, and he's talking about his wife, showing him his watch, and he's like, this is she gave me that the last day I saw her, and like, he's just kind of, they're real casual, like, and he's just driving, and it doesn't seem like they're in any sort of danger, and all of a sudden the tire goes out, and like there's like an explosion, and like the car like rolls, and like they're dead. They're just gone.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 trucks full of dynamite. You gotta pay it off somehow.
I know, but it was like, I think it was good though, because it's like the way that they did it in a way that you weren't anticipating.
Yeah.
It's like
the bus. It's like the first bus that blows up in Speed. But whereas the first bus that blows up in Speed, you think conventional wisdom is blow that bus up, then we know that there is threat, and Keanu gets on the bus, and we don't want it to blow up. But Keanu's on the bus. We know it's not going to blow up.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? We have to carry that sort of residual threat with us. Whereas this is, we're told from the start how bad this is. And all the hijinks aren't dynamite related, but there are hijinks that ratchet the tension up, and up.
Yes.
Until we finally get through what has been their biggest thing to date, like you said. And then it's like, well, I don't think we...
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was it exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was done really well.
But this movie's not good, though. Sorry, I had you talking. I'm sorry, I take it back.
All I'm saying is I recognize that this is good film work and everything. I just didn't really like it that much, and I don't really know.
That's okay to not know why. You like the Tangerine Dream soundtrack.
The Tangerine Dream soundtrack?
Yeah, you kept hearing first of all, I'll say that the soundtrack's very minimal in this, and there's a lot of diegetic music. There's a lot of sounds just in the scene that are sort of rhythmic or kind of drive things along.
Uh-huh.
But whatever you heard, like, bow, that was Tangerine Dream.
Okay, because I swear we've heard that in something else, like another film that we've watched within the last couple of weeks. I just can't put my finger on what that is.
Possibly. I mean, they did, like, Legend.
No, it's not Legend.
Well, anyway, they did a lot of movies
but,
in the 80s.
Yeah, okay.
They were Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was Evangelist. Sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, so after all that, I will say that the pacing is weird.
Okay.
Well, not the pacing so much as, I don't know if they again, don't know the story of the film. Can't wait to look into it after we're done recording this. But maybe they ran out of money or something, because it did. We have this huge, ambitious opening.
Yeah.
Then it slows way down, and it should. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to build, and then the truck blows up, and there's only like 15 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah.
Like they almost immediately overcome the rebels problem.
Yeah.
The one guy gets shot. Then you have the great sequence I call the nightmare sequence when he's driving through like the salt flats and he's hallucinating, and then he carries the thing to the thing, and then it's over, but it's not over because
we have the kind of denouement kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you think these guys are cursed, or they're just getting what they deserve? The wages.
I guess I hadn't thought about that before, but that's an interesting question. Maybe they're cursed. I mean, they're not. None of them are really quote unquote good guys.
No.
Right?
No, they
so
are.
maybe maybe it's karmic. Maybe it's not that they're cursed. Yeah. Maybe it's karma.
Friedkin has said as much.
Okay.
I never got, it makes sense, I guess, but I never picked up that the German guy that was supposed to go with them was like a Nazi.
Oh. Did we saw his, like, name badge. Was there anything on that would have...
Maybe it was in
remember.
his effects, like when when, what's his name goes,
the guy
Amadou goes looking for him.
Yeah. Because we see some of his effects. I can't remember.
But yeah,
maybe
so...
there was something in there. I didn't get that.
So that...
Is that why the assassin guy killed him?
No, he killed him because he wanted to go along.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just saying, even
thing.
he was a person with bad in his past. It's like this. Yeah. It's like this town. It's hell. They're in hell,
basically.
And things are just not going to work out for them.
No.
Do you see the similarities between this and Hell Dorado or The Rundown?
Oh, The Rundown. Yeah, I guess I could see that. No monkeys in this one.
It was a diamond mine.
Yeah.
This is an oil field, but yeah.
No Rosario Dawson-like character.
No, okay. I didn't mean that.
I mean, unless you count the lady
the
who works at the bar like Rosario
with.
Dawson did.
He's like, do you want some nuts? Oh, these are Brazil nuts.
Right.
Oh, we just call them nuts.
Yeah, right.
Okay. You're free.
Yeah.
But somebody's outside from Chicago wants to talk to you.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's talk about your film.
Yes. My film was The Fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Fly.
Cronenberg film.
Really Cronenberg'd it.
Yes. Starring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
For people who like The Fly...
Yeah.
It would help contribute to 1986 being the best year for movies ever. In the ongoing argument between 82, 84, and 86.
Okay, all right, sure.
No, 1980. It's 1985.
Well, in your movie opinion, which is...
No, we're not doing that. We don't have time for that.
All right.
Plus, I don't play favorites. Yeah, so it came out in 1986. Here's what happens in The Fly. Seth Brundle is a scientist. Mm-hmm. Although I will note that the movie goes out of its way to explain that he is... We never find out what his degree is in, if he has one, or where he went to school. Mm-mm. But he is putting things together. He is a conceptual guy.
Yes.
He didn't design...
He didn't build the parts.
Yeah, right, exactly. He asks... He knows other people who build things for him.
Yeah, he gave them the specs.
It's like an Elon Musk thing.
Oh.
You know?
Huh,
I mean, Elon Musk
like
is well educated, but he is not really a scientist.
Right.
And until you show me where Seth got his degree from, I'm just going to call him Elon Musk.
Ish.
Elon Fly.
Elon
Musk.
Mush? I don't, because he's so slimy and gross. I don't know. I was trying to...
You've been on a roll recently.
Yeah?
You got to bring this... You got to put it front and center. This is radio, okay? Nobody's going to ask you for your...
Right.
So anyway, yeah, Elon Mush.
Okay.
God damn, that's good. Elon Mush meets Ronnie Quaife, who is... all the names in this are weird.
Yeah.
Who is a journalist.
Ronnie is short for Veronica, but yeah.
Yeah. He's a journalist. They meet at a party. He takes her home. He shows her his teleportation machine. He's invented a teleportation machine where you put thing in one pod, comes out the other. I don't know. Again, how did he machine these pods? I guess he just got a guy to do it. Maybe he designed it. He's the design guy.
He experimented on some smaller objects.
It's just the movie does so much with like the idea of genius and like the mad scientist, and this guy is barely a scientist. I think that's interesting. I don't know if it does. I don't know if it means anything though.
Yeah.
And he is going to work on this. The two of them are clearly attracted to each other and sort of start a relationship. And they have a deal where he's going to keep working on it. She is going to document the work for a future article or book or something like that. One night they have a success. They transport a baboon successfully, which disappears from the film, even though it's a big star. Maybe he had other work to do. Clint Eastwood was on the line.
Right.
And so he sort of drunkenly decides to test it on himself. He gets in the pod. It works, but he finds out there was a fly in the pod with him.
Yes.
Probably going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Not so much. No. He begins to change in behavior and in body until becoming the titular fly.
Yes.
Did you know this was produced by Brooks Films?
I have no idea what that means. Who's Brooks Films?
Brooks Films. Think of your secretary. Oh, that's a good one. Mel Brooks.
What?
Yes.
No, I would not have guessed that.
Mel Brooks quietly
That is so funny.
produced a lot of sort of, along with his own films,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of interesting films. He paid for The Elephant
Really?
Man
Really
and kept his name out of it because he didn't want people to think of The Elephant Man as like
funny.
work, 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 work.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Yeah, and also this as well, and some other stuff.
Interesting.
Solar Babies, don't worry about it.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's what happens in the film.
Yes, that is
But it's
what
your film.
happens in the film. It is my film. I wanted to see this because, because I've heard of it and I heard it was good, and Jeff Goldblum, and then also,
John Getz, I understand.
Yeah, right. I wanted. I mean, he was fine. I wanted
Was
to see.
he?
He was okay.
I felt like he was in a different movie
Kind of like
because you've got Jeff
tonally-
Goldblum who is just going to do
Jeff Goldblum.
the Goldblum.
Yeah.
And maybe it's good casting. He's already got kind of bug eyes, and I feel like the movie and Cronenberg were making the best out of that they could. You know what I mean?
Probably,
He's
yeah.
kind of fly-like before he becomes a fly. So you got him doing that. You've got Gina Davis, who at this point is still growing into her talent. You know,
Mm-hmm.
The Accidental Tourist wouldn't be for a while. She just, her first appearance is in Tootsie as a girl in underwear. You know,
Yeah,
so
right.
will definitely become a great actress, but is still kind of getting there. And then you got John Getz, who's like, this is also, it's a night of remakes because this is a remake of Vincent Price's The Fly from 1958.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And so he's like in a Hammer horror movie or something. I can't remember if I've seen him in anything else, but he is like way over the top with what he's doing.
Right. But I mean, I guess another reason why I wanted to see it is because I want to see more sci-fi films that, like, were made before I was able to see them, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't want to say classic because I don't want to think of 1986 as classic. And so I think that this fits into this. And of course, Cronenberg, so it's very gross out. And
It's kind of restrained for Cronenberg.
you think?
Well, Videodrome was what, 82, 83?
Uh-huh.
And that was, say hello to the new flesh in that one.
I mean,
He's focused. He loves
maybe
flesh, doesn't he?
comparatively, yeah. And he likes slimy stuff too. Like, and he does like
Elon Mush.
Yes, I mean, and his body horror stuff. Like, you see body horror stuff in a lot of quote unquote horror movies, and maybe you would consider this to be a horror film, not just a sci-fi film. But I don't know. There's something about the way that he does body horror that just gets under your skin and makes you cringe and want to look away. And that's probably the exact reaction that he wants.
I felt they had,
But
this movie it's not for me.
Okay, fine.
Sorry,
accept
Save the Last
that.
Dance. Save the Last Dance.
Oh my
No,
God.
I like
Why
this.
you think I like that
I
movie?
understand why it is. It forms a node on the sort of genre film continuum. But people don't talk about it a lot now. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a super great movie.
I guess.
And I
Yeah.
think it's weird that in a movie where a man literally transforms into a fly
Yep.
and all of his shit falls off,
Mm-hmm.
they had to like jam body horror in other ways. Maybe they didn't have the budget. It was only like $10 million budget, but like he goes and he arm wrestles the guy and he gives him
Yep.
like a compound fracture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, but like his dick could fall off or something. There's all kinds of body horror stuff that you could do, but you have to like, or he barfs on the John Getz's hand and it melts like
Yeah.
a Yankee candle.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, this is good, but again, like you have a main character who is literally transforming into something else. You could have had all kinds of gross and weird scenes, and we only get like a couple scenes, and he progresses to fly like pretty fast.
He does.
They go through the sort of middle part of the movie where it's like we can save money. It's just Jeff Goldblum with a thing on his face, and he's just going to be sweaty and just be weird.
Some of the worst stuff, in my opinion, and it wasn't really bloody, but was he loses some fingernails, and
Yeah.
then like liquid gushes out of or squirts out of his fingers,
That would happen.
and you know, that's like really early on, so I think that they wanted to like really make that gross. And then of course when he actually does transform into a fly, it's just pure gross out, like flesh just I don't even want to say disintegrating, just like what would you even say, like it looks like somebody like you're taking a carrot and you're peeling it off, like it's just like skin's just peeling off of him, you know, and it's so gross. He
the guy that did the special effects was a guy named Chris Wallace, and he as far as I know he's still around. He didn't like work like a whole lot after the 80s.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, because these are good effects, I think.
They're really good effects.
But it's interesting to note that he worked on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he did the scene where the Nazis melt.
Oh my gosh!
And so it's like, oh, okay, well,
I see where the beginning of that.
A whole guy's head, I can do a hand.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Get the hairdryer. Let's do this.
Right, exactly.
Who's got bigger hair, Gina Davis or Jeff Goldblum?
Gina Davis.
It's the 80s.
Come on.
80s.
He does have very long
There's
hair,
so
though,
many
for Jeff Goldblum.
There's so many scenes, you know, where they're clearly, you know, they're making the most of it. They're framing her up, you know, and making her look, you know, angelic and beautiful. But there's just like this
giant hair,
this black halo around her, like this cloud. That's just the style.
It is just the style. It's like teased, you know, super teased 80s hair. You know, it's nobody wears their hair like that anymore.
Yeah,
but
if you think about something like Videodrome, which I've been told is understandable, but I find impenetrable. But enticingly impenetrable. Mm-hmm. You know, you put a VHS tape in your stomach. Why not? Do you know what I mean? It's about something like. I always think like David Lynch knows exactly what's going on in his films, and you go, "Can you explain it?" No, like he won't explain it.
Yeah,
I don't know if Cronenberg knows what's going on in his films. I think he is kind of like us. I think he's an observer of himself, and he's like, "What would be crazy right here?" Oh, he rolls over on a microchip, and a microchip getting stuck in him kind of represents like the coming fusion of flesh and technology. And
well, that's a very early plant.
Is that
that's
true?
What it was.
Is that a thing? It's almost like he's jamming in it. Oh yeah, flesh and technology. He rolls on a microchip.
Yeah,
That
did kind of seem like
it's kind of out of nowhere,
jammed in there.
Well, jammed into his back.
and he was like, "Oh, I was wondering where that went."
And then how do
it's in your bed?
We'll justify it with Gina Davis for some reason being like, "Oh, old ladies love babies because the flesh drives you crazy." Like, what?
I was like,
What?
I got nothing. That was so weird. It was such a weird line.
Let's blow up a monkey, and that's fine. Where's he getting these monkeys?
That's what I want to know. And they're not even like, first of all, if you're doing laboratory scientific experiments, I don't think you would start with a monkey, period.
Yeah.
But these are like baboons, like they're not even like monkeys. Like they're bigger animals, probably more exotic, probably more expensive, probably more endangered. So why are you using them for your experiments? I mean, don't get me wrong. The baboon actor, like you said, very talented. They had him, you know, trained to like jump up into Jeff Goldblum's arms and like hug him and like, you know, and like he's.
Aren't those like aggressive? Aren't baboons really aggressive?
I don't
aren't
know. I thought maybe this one didn't seem to be.
I tried to tear my genitals off.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I told him.
Yeah. I did enjoy the scene where Jeff Goldblum is freaking out and drinking a lot of alcohol, and he's talking to the baboon who's just sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
That was very entertaining.
Yeah, and there's the good fly acting, too, because the fly is... Somehow they get this fly to buzz around the baboon.
Yes.
And I don't know how baboons deal with flies. Probably like humans. They're just annoying. And the baboon's like, get on here.
Yeah, he's like
kind
swatting
of
at it.
swat at him.
I know. That was great, too.
Yeah, this movie is just like, it's like science. What if baboons but scary?
Yeah.
It's like a Black Mirror where it doesn't really dive into what it's examining, because there is an implication here that's almost a text that the pod, it's like the Star Trek transporter. The pod destroys you, and then makes another you.
Materializes you or something.
And Brindle talks about this, but he only talks about it really he has this theory that going through the computer and having the computer remake you like purifies you, like the computer like doesn't replicate the bad things in you or whatever. So now, but really what he's just experiencing mania because his brain is dying. But
before they successfully do the bamboo, he puts a piece of steak in there and then he cooks the steak that's been transported and then the one that hasn't, and he has Gina Davis taste them, and she's like, "Oh, something was wrong with the one that's transported. It doesn't taste right."
She says it tastes synthetic.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, what is a synthetic steak taste like?
I'm not sure what she means.
Motor
like
oil?
Chemical or
is it crunchy
or what? Yeah, right. Like, is it the texture? Is it
the
taste?
Is it like those little steaks that you get in preschool that come with the kitchen set?
Yeah,
and
maybe.
you'd always bite them, and they got a little valve in them, like a squeaky toy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Somehow I doubt that, but maybe.
Kids just have steak apps now. They never had rubber food like we did.
That reminds me when I was a little kid. I was playing with stuff, and I was showing my mom, and I was like, "Look, Mom, real fake food."
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't science drunk. But I just felt like they were never really worried about the justification for why he wants to create a teleportation device.
That was kind of
because he
silly.
gets car sick.
He doesn't like transportation. He said he got sick on a tricycle.
Do we need that?
No,
was that ever going to come back?
I don't think we need that, honestly. I guess a couple of things I want to mention. So her boss, her editor or whatever, who does become important later on in the film, but it's just weird and kind of gross, right? So they used to date. And, like, he still has a key to her place. So, like, he lets himself in and, like, takes a shower.
Power move.
And then he's always, like, trying to not necessarily get back with her, but, like, have sex with her. And it's just weird and gross. And, like, she tells him it's weird and gross, yet she doesn't, like, leave when he says those things. So
normally,
it's like, what?
They didn't, or Cronenberg, because he wrote the script. No, he didn't write the script, actually. I'm wrong about that.
Okay.
I'm sure he contributed to it, but normally you would soften that guy a little bit. That guy would be the Dennis Miller character in a late '80s, early '90s movie.
Uh-huh.
He'd be the friend, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I kind of want to like have sex with you," but she's got a thing for the dangerous main character or the other guy,
right? And
then he would die or get hurt like this guy does in this movie,
right?
They didn't try to like. Hey, we could just do it. No, he's like taking showers in her place, and he's like, "Yeah, you wanna bone me still? I think you gave me that key. You didn't ask for the key back because secretly you wanna."
Yeah. And he's like following her and like stalking her and kind of like not even veil.
Right, but he's still alive at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in the sequel or not, but like he's alive at the end. This would be the guy that like.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
There's a couple.
Oh boy.
Brundlefly should punch through this guy's like torso, right, and rip his heart out.
Yeah, right.
But he'll presumably recover, and so think she ends up with that guy?
She might. I don't know. I was kind of thinking maybe that might happen. I actually thought that because he was thinking towards the end that if he formed with another person or a couple other people, which I was like, oh god, this is great, we're gonna see that now.
Well, so that's dropped in late third act.
Yeah,
I've got a third pod.
Yeah,
and I guess what I want to do is if I merge myself with another human being,
maybe I'll be more human than Fly.
But the Fly's still going to be there.
I know. So I thought when her ex showed up at Brundle's place, I thought that's what's going to happen. Like he's got a shotgun, but
he's going to merge with a beard.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought was going to happen, and then he just like acids his hand and his foot, and doesn't try to merge with him. Wants to merge with Gina Davis, who's pregnant with his baby, who she's like freaked out that like she's going to have a Fly baby, so she's like, I want an abortion. Which
brave.
Yeah.
1986.
I know, right?
The Fly said pro-choice.
Yeah.
Women's rights.
Yeah. Well, the movie might have. I think Brundle definitely wanted it. The other thing that's really weird is
the succession of long coats that Gina Davis wears in the second half of the film.
Well,
she walks in, it's another long coat.
But he like wants her to do the transportation thing because he thinks that it makes him stronger and better, and he does like all these acrobatic things.
Yeah, he's got fly acrobat powers.
Which is like, what? And she doesn't. She thinks it's a little weird, but she's like, I don't want to do the transportation thing. I'm going to leave.
She seems a little horned up by it.
A little bit. A little bit.
She's like, whoa, he's a scientist, and he talks a mile a minute, and he can do an Arabian.
Yeah, right. But he's like, well, if you're not going to do it, then I'm going to go find somebody who will. And he literally walks into a bar, and like the first woman he meets, he's like, it's going to be her. And like takes her home and like he transports again.
Right.
Which, I mean, no fly this time, but
no,
probably,
there's a beetle in there.
Yeah, right. I mean, probably not helping, right? And then like
I don't know. Because this is a sci-fi movie and it doesn't bother to sigh its own sigh.
But like I don't even know how many hours go by, and then like it's like later, maybe the next day, and he's like, "You need to do it. It's your turn." And it's like,
here's a script
I thought
note.
that was the point.
Here's a script note. Do it.
Yeah.
Why not do it?
Yeah.
Are we not going to? He's already a fly man. Are we not going to sympathize with him if he, through his actions or through his direct actions, gets somebody killed? In any other movie, the hero's changing into "Stop me before I kill again." Yeah. It's American Werewolf in London, you know. Help me, Jenny Agutter. You're my only hope.
Yeah.
But instead, they just like he does it, and then I guess they do it, and then he's like, "All right, now do it." Why not make her do it?
That's what I thought.
But something is wrong, and she disintegrates, or just do anything.
That's what I thought, and then like something would be wrong with her, and then she would die, or like he would feel bad about it.
Like the baboon, she disappears from the film.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think there are good parts of this film, but like I think what you're kind of saying, and I don't know, I agree with you. It just doesn't. It puts certain things in there and then doesn't follow up on them. You know, like, oh, well, I'm going to find somebody who will be, like, a superhuman with me or what. I don't remember what he says exactly in the film. But, like, you know, if you're not going to, and, I'm going to
go in with the monkey.
Right. Oh, jeez.
Hey, they're very similar to us genetically.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you think, now, it's hard to tell because it's all in black and white and it's very cheaply made, but you know about Tetsuo the Iron Man, right?
I don't know that I do.
It's a Japanese film.
Yep. Okay, could tell from the name.
Made by a cult film director named something Tsukamoto. Mm-hmm. And it's about a guy who basically, I don't think it's ever explained necessarily, but he gets like metal in him. Like he gets... And he starts to become, it takes him over and it starts to become. Now, that guy is clearly a fan of David Cronenberg, right? What do you think Cronenberg thinks of? He must have seen Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Yeah, right. Probably. Yeah.
Was he like, wow, it's amazing. Such an interesting. Or was he like, the double, the over-under? Get off my lawn.
I bet it's the first one. Because I think if it was the second one, we would have heard about it. Don't you think? Like, it reminds me of, God, this is going to be, I can't think of it right now. Carpenter, like John Carpenter, like, he's okay with, like, some things, like, some homages and other things. He's like, get off my lawn. I'm not going to remember what it is exactly. What was the film that he was like, too close?
Lock Up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was too close to which film again?
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. And what's his name? Terrible with names right now. The Japanese Kojima-san does, an homage to Escape from New York.
No, he does. He does 5 games in an entire media franchise.
Yes.
And
it's
on
basically
Call Me Snake.
It's basically the same exact character, right? And he's like, yeah, fine.
I like playing the games.
I know, right?
Keep bringing them out.
I would not be surprised if that was the case.
$60. Is a new one out?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he probably is totally cool with it. So, yeah.
And in the end, he does, like, the fly gets merged with meddle with technology.
Yes, like
so
part
they're even,
of the transporter
I think
pod.
the Tetsuo guy like walked out of the Fly and was like, not a fly. What about? And then made his movie.
Sure. I don't see why not. I mean, people influence each other all the time, so... What?
You're influencing me to quit this show.
Hey, stop.
Just kidding. Anything else? There's a couple sequels. There was a Fly 2...
How do they do sequels?
In the early 90s. So the child was... Nobody comes back. Jeff Goldblum's in like archival footage, but nobody comes back. But his kid is...
Oh, she does not get the abortion.
No, she does not. And the kid is born, and because of genetic stuff, he's 5, but he looks like Eric Stoltz. And I think that was written by Frank Darabont, or at least he did a pass on it.
I don't know who that is.
It's, yeah, you do, don't you?
No, not by name.
The what's the... Man, I'm dying. Speaking of brains dying.
I can't remember
Hey,
names.
you're smart. Your brain's not dying.
I don't
Get in
know.
this pod.
Oh,
Get in this pod with
geez.
me.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Our brains will merge.
No, like the Shawshank Redemption and
Okay.
other stuff.
Okay. All right.
Big reaction there.
What?
This is a movie show. We're movie fans.
Yes. Continue with your story.
There is no story.
Oh, okay.
It's just, and then the kid is all
The
weird.
Fly.
And
Yeah, okay.
this is like, Goldblum's good in this, but I don't think he's done a lot of makeup acting other than this, has he?
Maybe
he did it once. He's like, oh, no. No, never again. I feel like Eric Stoltz had done his share of makeup acting. It's a couple big ones I can think of.
Reminds me of Andrew Robinson, like talking about
Yes.
oh gosh,
Hellraiser?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so your brain you don't have to get in the pod with me.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, talking about Hellraiser and the makeup for that and how like he felt claustrophobic.
That was Garrick.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
No,
maybe I'm
Hellraiser is
getting
the movie
mixing
where
up.
it's like, oh, great, I can just play kind of a dopey character. That's all fun. Oh, you're going to put fish hooks in my face? Great.
Yeah,
great.
okay, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he did Garrick, but he got more used to the makeup and they got it down. So, but yeah.
Great story. Would you recommend
Sorry.
The Fly?
Yes, I would. I think it's
You said
an
sorry.
iconic-
You said sorry like David Cronenberg would say sorry.
Oh, okay. I think it's an iconic film.
Yeah, but like a lot of iconic films, I wish it was kind of better than it was.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The Sorcerer might be a better film, but I think
You mean Sorcerer?
Sorcerer,
A
yes.
singular sorcerer?
Yeah, sorry. Sorcerer might
Yeah,
be...
we know you wouldn't recommend that, so...
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's it. We
Wow,
gotta go.
you just cut me off.
That's the end.
Well,